This video is going to show how to use the 3x9 loom with the stray fiber speed comb to weave a double-length band or strap, approximately 16 inches in length. Most of the process stays the same, but first you will warp your loom in a different way. Tie onto the top left corner with a double knot. Bring the yarn around the back of the loom and through the third slot from the left. Then bring it straight down to the corresponding third slot at the bottom. I'll flip my loom over so you can see what I'm doing. I'm bringing the yarn up the back side of the loom instead of around the pegs. Here's where we came in through the third slot, and now we're going through the fourth. And you'll see we're starting to create 2 layers of warp threads. Then come back down the front side, straight down to the 4th slot at the bottom. I'm not flipping the loom over this time, but still bringing the warp up the back side. And then down the front side to the next slot at the bottom, and you're just continuing to follow the slots. 1 layer is coming down the front side of the loom, and the other is coming up the back side of the loom. You're wrapping around the entire loom, rather than around the pegs. And while you're doing this, you should be maintaining tension on the yarn. You'll stop at the 3rd slot from the right and bring it straight down to the corresponding slot at the bottom. You will go up the back side 1 more time and come through the 2nd to last slot. That will make the final warp thread on the back, and you'll see your warp has 2 layers. And just check that you have 12 warp threads on each side. I like to wrap around the loom a few times to maintain the tension while I tie off. This is the front side, and then this is the back where the knots are tied. The back is offset 1 slot from the front. This is why we're warping with 12 threads instead of 14, so that we can still fit the speed comb in at the edge. The next important difference is you want these knots to be on the bottom of your work as you weave from the bottom to the top. To start weaving, thread a length of yarn onto the needle. The speed comb works the same way as usual. In left position, we're still lining up the first down slot here, over the first warp thread. Left position is for going from right to left. Weave your first row in left position. I am going to do a hem stitch, so I will leave myself a long tail at the beginning. For right position, I'm looking at the 2 end sets of teeth. If I'm going to the right, I'm looking at the right side of the teeth and putting the last down slot on the last warp thread. For the 2nd row, put your speed comb in right position and weave from left to right. Then back to left position to weave right to left. Just be careful that you're weaving only through this top layer of the warp, not through the back layer. and you'll continue weaving the same way. Adding a new yarn stays the same too. Let the tail hang out of the back. And add in your new yarn. Once you get to the top, and this bead comb doesn't fit in anymore, I slip it under my weaving. It can help give a little more of a gap. To help make weaving this easier, I'm adding in a new piece of yarn here, because I want to make sure I have plenty of length as I approach the top edge. As you get closer and closer to these top pegs, it will start to get really tight. This is the hardest part of the double length process, but you want to try to go as high as you possibly can, because that's going to give you the best results. So just go slow. Use the needle to pack the rows down. And if you have to, you can go just a few warp threads at a time, or even one warp thread and pull through. This is my last row on the front side. I ended on an over. And now we'll bring the yarn up through the slot holding the first warp thread. Flip the loom over. Now we're on the back side of the loom. We ended on an over, so we're going to start on an under. Pull this row really tight. It will look like this at the top of the front side. The top row is continuing up through the slot. And we're going to pack as many rows as tight as possible against the bottom. The more rows you can pack in here, the better the result. You may find that some of the tails from the front side, where you added in yarn, could be in the way while you weave the back. It's okay to trim them short, just leave a little bit. And now keep weaving to your desired length. This is my last row going right to left. Now I'm going to finish with a hem stitch. If you need a refresher on how to do hem stitching, that is covered in the original How to Weave tutorial on my page. After hem stitching, cut your piece off the loom. Cut carefully right at the very top of the warp, leaving as long of a fringe as you can. You'll see gaps in the spot where you're weaving wrapped around the loom. It just needs a little touching up. Use the needle to gently slide those surrounding rows. This is why we packed extra rows in tight near the wrapping edge. Spread it out across a big area as you slide the rows, and you'll see the gaps slowly start to fill in. And that is how you get a long band. Wet finishing will also help fill the gaps in more. Not including the fringe. This is about 16 inches long.